Okay, so I'm going to do a little tutorial on how to fill out our score sheet. Obviously, this is a sample, and I'm just going to go over it with you how it is filled out. This is the original, like the non-filled out one that you'll start with on Monday. There are enough game spaces for 5 games. Okay, game 5. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is fill out where we're playing. So it will be St. Paul's, the date, who we are, and who they are. Okay, this is a space for all of our roster. This is a space for all of their roster. We do not have a libero, so we can just use those 2 spaces for our roster if we want to do that. Not a problem. And this is for us. The reason that we track this is because these positions here, that's the first thing. We want to make sure that our players are always in the right position, as well as their players, because if either side gets out of order, say these players switch positions, usually it's because they don't realize it at this point in middle school. The ball immediately goes back to us and we get a point. So that's why it's so important for us to keep track of it as well, because otherwise if we don't know if they're out of order. We don't know if we're out of order, and we could be out a point in that position as well. So what we need to do here is that these spaces are not usually filled out. Okay, so we need to keep track of our timeouts and their timeouts. This is a way to keep track of our win or a loss. This is for first serve. So obviously this team served first. This is for libero. Again, we don't have that. I don't remember if any of the middle school teams have a libero, but that is generally for high school. So, and then these are for your initials. Okay, so if you look at this, these are the players' numbers. Okay, so 2, 16, 6, 10, 15, and 23. Those are their first players, okay? And then these are their first players, 1, 15, 8, 4, 11, and 9. This team served first. So what you're gonna do is they got a point, then they got a second point, and then you cross them out here as well, okay? And then this team got the ball, okay? So that is marked by you circling. It's a side out point, okay? So this is a circle, not an O or a 0, okay? So this is a side out point, okay? So they got 1 point for getting the ball, and then they scored a second point and a third point. So side out point, second point, third point, okay? And then this team got the ball back, okay? So number 16 scored, got the side out point. So you circle it. And then apparently this player did not score when she served. So what you'll do, this is an S. We substituted, okay? So that's when 2 came in, 2 served. So 4 when they got the ball back, and that's a side out. And then 2 scored the 5th point, okay? So we scored there. And then, this is a sub. I'm so sorry. The S and the 5 look the same. Okay, so we got the side out point. Number 2 did that, okay? And then they got the ball back, okay? Number 4 was a side out point, or the 4th point was a side out point. Number 6 scored 5, 6, and 7. And then they called a timeout, okay? So that's when you say that they called a timeout. You don't have to say what the score is at that point. It doesn't really matter. You totally can, or you can just put an X there. I understand why they do that, because sometimes when they call a timeout, it makes everyone's brains pause. And so then you just have to figure out, okay, did we get 7 before that or after that? Like, it just sometimes confuses people. So it would be a good idea to put the score when you do that. Let's see. Okay. And then, so after the timeout, this other team got the ball back. Okay. So the 5th point was a side out point, and then number 8 scored the 6th point. Okay. And all the while we are marking this off here. Okay. Then they scored, remember, they scored 7 and then the timeout. So this is a side out point when they got it back, their 8th point. And then number 10 did not score. Okay. So then you go back over to here. Okay. There's a sub. Now the other thing, as you can see here, it's 4, 21, 4. This is how the subbing has to work. Okay. So you can't do 4, 21, and then put in 15. Okay. 15 and 2 have to sub for in and out for each other. Okay. So, then number 21 got point number 7 when it was a side out, and then number 21 scored 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So then they called a timeout. Okay. The only problem I have with these T's is it doesn't designate who called it. So only up here. So this, when they wrote this, it's the timeout that this team called. This up here is for the timeout that this team called. Okay. So I find that really interesting. Okay. So they called a timeout. This team called a timeout. And then number 21 continued to play. So she got number point 11. And then there was a side out. So then it went back over to this team. Okay. They had already had a side out point at 8. They subbed number 3, 4, 15. And this team scored 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So it must have been interesting that this team got the ball back and then they subbed immediately. And then this number 3 scored number 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Then there was another side out. Okay. So it goes back and forth. It's important to circle when there is a side out. It's important to track the players and what positions they're in. So if this is the net, this is the serving position. Okay. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. No one knows why the numbers or positions are numbered in that order, but that's just what it is. So at the end, you'll just write the scores and then who won and lost, and that's it.